with America over my shoulder, you see a place of tremendous horror and terrorism and unspeakable violence. And that's a place probably most Americans don't know, but it's quite popular in Moscow and in Russia. It's the Crocus City Hall. Now, don't be confused as we have been originally. It's not a city hall. It's a beautiful, apparently, and new concert hall or exhibition hall or performance hall. And at the time of the attack, there was a concert going on that looks, from the pictures I'm looking at right here, to have been, if not sold out, looked like it was sold out. I mean, pretty close to sold out. We originally it was listed as 40 killed, then 62 killed, now 70 killed, which I guess tells you that it's probably going to go up. When that original number was given, it was 140 wounded. Probably you have to add in all the people that were described as killed that weren't originally. So we're probably talking about closer to 200 wounded, and who knows how far it's going to go. Strange because apparently it's the work of only 5 gunmen. Now, how did they do it, and who are they? Well, they claim to be the Islamic State. Uh, they could. The Russians don't confirm that. The Russians have some doubt about it, and I guess have some suspicion that it's the Ukrainians, which, since they're at war with the Ukraine, would be a natural thing to suspect. Although this is not uh, uh, something that the Ukrainians have done in the past. It is something that ISIS has done in the past. And American and European, at least American and UK intelligence warned of attacks. I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. They even warned their own personnel very, very recently not to go to gatherings in Moscow. That may have been as recent as a couple of days ago. And it's their claim, American intelligence, that this is the work of ISIS, who claim credit for it. So that'll all get, I'm sure, worked out. Uh, as you look at this, the intelligence agencies kind of know the signatures of these different groups, and we'll probably come pretty close to 100% certain of who did it. In any event, it was very professional. If it is only 5 people, it's remarkable that they were able to do so much damage. They had Kalashnikov rifles and were believed to have Molotov cocktails. I don't know what else they had, but that's what is described so far. They may have had other weapons. The thing, was so chaotic, and these are the early reports, that it's as I always tell you in an emergency, it always changes, and not on purpose. It always changes because of chaos and people frightened, and they see things one way and it turns out to be another. One witness said he was about to settle into his seat, so it must have been near the beginning of the concert when this happened, when he heard several machine gun bursts and then a lot of screams. I realized right away, he said, that I was under automatic gunfire and that it was a terrorist attack. He gave his name as Alexei, and he described this to the AFP. Another concert goer said lots of people panicked and stampeded. Everyone ran to the escalator. Everyone was screaming. Everyone was running. Emergency helicopters were deployed immediately to extinguish the fire. The first responders were there in an appropriate amount of time. I don't know yet. We don't have the exact time. And the Moscow mayor, Sergei Sobyanin, said that the Moscow government would cancel all cultural, sporting, and other mass events for the weekend as it evaluates what happens. And the railways in Russia and other major utilities have additional security. Remember, this is a very well secured city. I haven't been there in a very long time, but I did actually the first time I went, I had the opportunity to take a very, very good look at its security. And that was after the 2001 attack in America. So this would have been in 2002 or 2003, and its security then would be at the higher end, of cities in the world. I have to assume, in all these years with 3, 4, 5 attacks, it's just gotten better, which makes the ability to do this and the scope of the damage shocking. It was way back in March 8th, I guess, that the embassy wrote that they're monitoring reports that extremists have imminent plans to target gatherings in Moscow, to include concerts. And U.S. citizens should be advised to avoid large gatherings over the next, and then they said 48 hours. So they obviously were very premature, but on target. So this is one of the biggest attacks in Europe in quite some time. There was the attack in Paris at the Vatican. There was the Nord-Ost terrorist attack in Moscow in 2002, which I remember well. I was there shortly after that. The United States says there was no indication of Ukrainian involvement. The United States seems to take at face value the ISIS taking credit for it. Yulia Navalnaya, the widow of Mr. Navalnaya, made no political statement about this. She just offered her condolences to the families of the victims and recovery of the injured. And all those involved in this crime must be bound and held accountable. And she said, of course, it was a nightmare, which is exactly right. It was a nightmare. The other piece of information that we have is that they were bearded and they acted like trained fighters, according to witness accounts. At the moment of entering the building, the first thing they did was secure the guards. I don't know how many, kill them all, which tells you professional, right? And they locked and secured the doors, making escape difficult to maximize the number of people they could kill. Because the people trying to open a door that's secure are all going to get blocked there. And it makes the ability to shoot them with machine guns, unfortunately and tragically, much easier. So all that tells you is that this is a trained group of terrorists. The concert was sold out. The band, of course, I wouldn't know. It was Picnic. Picnic Crocus City Hall is the venue. What is the name? Let's have the name of the band. The attack took place by the Russian rock band Picnic. Piknik. Did I pronounce that right? Picnic? Are they famous? You don't? Okay. You don't know if they are. Okay. So they claim to be famous. Well, tragically, they're famous now, and no information as to whether any of them were shot or injured. Now, within the last 10 days, Russian authorities had carried out a series of raids against Islamic militants in Ingustia, in southern Russia, leading to a number of firefights between the police and firefighters. So it was unclear as to whether or not it was connected to that. And the last major terrorist attack in Russia was in 2017, when 14 people were killed on the St. Petersburg metro. Then in 2013, there were suicide bombers in Volgograd. So it's not common, but it's not uncommon. And it had been quite some time since there was a terrorist attack. And we'll have to see what the end result of this is. And of course, if it is ISIS, there'll be pretty much, I would say, a united front about it. If it's Ukraine, then it becomes a whole altogether different situation. But again, aside from speculation, there's no evidence that it's Ukraine. So let's not assume it unless and until there's evidence of it, and let's take it at face value. So ISIS says they did it. They're generally pretty credible about the work they do, which is disgusting, horrible, awful, and it's terrible to see they're back again. I can't help but add that this probably has something to do with all of the arms that we made available back in 2002, 2001, 2002 at Bagram, $85 billion worth, of which they glommed up a great deal of it. But thank you again, President Biden, for your contribution. We'll be back shortly. The foundation delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us. Heroes who risked their lives to keep our communities and our country safe. Heroes like United States Marine Corps Captain and pilot John Jeremy Sachs. Captain Sachs sustained fatal injuries when his military aircraft crashed during training, killing him and 5 other service members. He's remembered by loved ones as courageous, brilliant, and devoted to his career, family, and friends. John is survived by his wife, Amber, who gave birth to their second daughter 3 months after his death. Tunnel to Towers paid the mortgage on the family home for Amber and their 2 daughters. The foundation has helped over 1,000 military and first responder families navigate the worst of times by removing the burden of a mortgage payment. Our nation's heroes and their families need your help now more than ever. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. T2T.org. That's T, the number 2T.org. T2T.org. Please donate now.
Video. So, Mayor, we have some footage. Some viewers may find this disturbing, but we do have some footage we want to play from the attacks in Moscow today.
Let's do so. Well, you can get an idea that that was a professional attack, and certainly ISIS is capable of that. That's their profession. In back of me is a celebration of Purim in Israel, a country under attack also, but stopped today to celebrate an ancient and beautiful feast, really. It comes from the book of Esther in the Bible, right before the book of Job, which can really get you down if you read it. So you might as well read the book of Esther first, so you're ready for the book of Job. But interestingly, it goes back to when the Israelis were under the dominance of the king of Persia and Media. Persia, Iran. And a prince, a soldier, an opportunist named Haman, who was an advisor to the king of Persia, had a great idea for the king, and that was to kill all the Jews. You see, this goes back a while, huh? This is the 5th century BC. That's what, about 5,000 years before Christ. So even those people who think that anti-Semitism somehow emerges from Christianity and the killing of Jesus, and which sometimes is used tragically as a way to drive it, are wrong. I mean, anti-Semitism goes back much further than that, and Jesus himself was a victim of it. So Haman, wanting to ingratiate himself to the king, comes up with this idea of killing all the Jews, particularly the children and the women. I mean, I guess terrorists think the same thousands of years apart, huh? However, there is a beautiful woman named Esther, and the king had just gotten rid of his queen because he had asked her to bring something to him, and she didn't. And all of his advisors said this would be a very, very bad example to all the women in Persia if they didn't listen to men. Now, he didn't kill her, which I guess is to his credit, but he did put her away. And then he met this beautiful woman, Esther, and Esther became the new queen. And she had an advisor named Mordecai, and Mordecai uncovered Haman's plot and reversed it. And in celebration of that, they had a feast. And the feast is the Feast of Purim. Mordecai was Esther's cousin. And they did take up arms to some extent against Haman and defeated him. So when you look at it, it is quite a feast for today. And today they will read the book of Esther, which I recommend to you. It's only 10 chapters. It's very short. And it's quite a beautiful story about a beautiful woman and her cousin and their courage. And then, of course, from this, one of the things that emerged is a pastry, a triangular pastry known as Hamantaschen, or Ozni Haman, ears of Haman. So these, I guess if you eat these pastries, you're eating Haman's ears. And I was promised these pastries earlier today from a Jewish bakery here in the Palm Beach area, and I haven't gotten it yet. And I think before the night is out, I want to eat one of Haman's ears.
Fine, Mayor.
In addition to the fact that I'm hungry, but I wonder, do they drink wine with it? It would be only appropriate to have wine.
We're going to bring up a picture of it here in a second.
With Hamantaschen?
Yeah. We got a picture, but we didn't get the real thing.
Well, that's the picture of the celebration. So you get an idea, the picture behind me is the picture of celebration. You get an idea that it's a very happy celebration. I don't think it's being celebrated that way. This is probably from last year in Israel. I don't think it's being celebrated that way today while they're under bombardment.
Check out these cookies.
You see oh, I've had those. I love them. I probably didn't realize, I knew they were served. I guess I would not have distinguished between Purim and Sukkot, which is the feast of tents, where you build a tent. But those things are great.
Those are great. I certainly hope that they arrive.
Is that like blueberries in there or something?
Yeah. If you're out there listening, we're here and ready. But Purim technically doesn't start till tomorrow evening, correct?
Yeah. But today is
people
Sabbath, so I'm not going to be on tomorrow evening. So I guess if she gets them to me tomorrow, I can still eat them. Well, now we go to a different story, and it's a repeating story. I guess really, if we were really covering this like Americans, if we were really America again, with a free press and a fair press, and we'd probably have 4 or 5 of these a day, maybe more. You have no idea how they cover up the crimes of illegal migrants. Even describing these 3 rapists, they go out of their way to call them undocumented. That garbage that when Biden apologized for calling the murder rapist an illegal, said they should be called undocumented. Like hell, they should be called undocumented. Here they are. Yeah. These are These are the people for which Trump was criticized when he called them animals in 2015. The fact that he had the courage to call them animals led to pretty much our most secure border in years. The fact that Biden does euphemistic things like refuses to call them anything and calls them migrants has led to our most unsecure border. It's the same thing his predecessor, Prince Obama, did when he refused to use the language Islamic extremist terrorists. We had massive, massive buildup of ISIS because of that, because of appeasement by Obama of the Islamics, almost demonstrating his partiality to them, almost demonstrating his partiality to them. Now we have Biden sucking up to these people. Well, they're sure as hell doing a lot of good because these people right here, right close by in Palm Beach County, in an incident that was pretty much covered up, and not only covered up. I'm going through the publications. I can't find a major publication that's covered it since then, except Fox, Newsmax, a couple of local state, no New York Times, no Washington Post. I'm not sure it's in the Palm Beach Post. Boy, does that stink. And here's what happened. On the 11th of March, that's quite a bit back now for us not knowing this, a woman was kidnapped by three men, the three bums you saw there. Marcos Felipe Ramirez, 31, Daniel Ordonez Jimenez, 30, and Andres Felipe Morales, 29, all absolutely 100% illegally in this country from Guatemala. No right to be here. And if we had a president, they would have been sent back or detained, except under the catch and release policy of the dodo in the White House, they were free. So once again, this woman was raped because of Joe Biden in a very similar way to the young girl whose name he can't remember, Laken Riley. It's Laken Riley, dummy, not Lincoln. So back on last Monday, they grabbed her near Lake Worth, Florida. They took her in a car. They raped her twice. Once the driver, and then the other two took their turns. She was able to squeeze away for a minute, find a person who helped her and drove her out of there, and she went and reported it, and they arrested these illegal aliens, which is the way we used to describe them. And I think once again, we should go back so that people have proper warning that these are extraordinarily dangerous people that Biden has brought into this country. According to the sheriff, I have no idea if the sheriff is a Republican or a Democrat, the federal government has put the American people in jeopardy. Our intelligence section, who works very closely with the FBI, has also identified the most dangerous gangs in the world are now in Miami from Venezuela. They make MS-13 look like school kids. They're not going to stay just in Miami. Well, got to tell you, Sheriff, they're in New York. I think he's talking about Trans Aragua, which is a Venezuelan gang that is as bad or worse than MS-13. Just to inform the sheriff, I'm sure he knows this, they've actually made an alliance with each other to help each other, MS-13 and Trans Aragua, so that they can do the maximum amount of destruction in the United States, which is why they are here and why it is completely unconscionable that Biden invited them in, because he invited them in. If you go back to the Democratic convention in 2000, he told them to surge to the border and come in. He told them they would get benefits. He told them they'd be given asylum, and he also told them they'd be given a road to citizenship. And then his party members, like Communist Party members, offered them treats, things like health insurance for an illegal. How about just recently, the besotted mayor of my city, Eric Adams, has given them debit cards. Americans don't get debit cards. They get $1,000 debit card every month. These guys would be entitled to it. Maybe not while they're in prison. I don't know. Maybe you get it while you're in prison after you've raped a woman. I don't know. What are they? Is this a deliberate effort to destroy the United States? Want me to answer my own question? They're on $200,000 bail. They're not out. They're being held on $200,000 bail. I would think they'd be held as a danger to the community, no bail. Like, no way these animals should be let out so they can rape another woman. $200,000 bail, Trans-Aragua. Suppose they make it. We're going to just apologize when they rape 2 more women. I don't get it. Don't get it. As a prosecutor, I guarantee you I'd convince the judge to hold them on no bail as a danger to the community, which is perfectly constitutional under Salerno versus the United States. Now, why do I know that? Because it was my case. They actually were, there actually is some speculation that they were in or around Mar-a-Lago. I don't know if that has any truth to it. It doesn't seem. It seems more like gossip reports. But I mean, it's not totally crazy. That's the area generally we're talking about. Lake Worth is not very far from it, but could be.
And we have some video from the sheriff if you want to play that, or
no, I didn't appreciate the sheriff not being tough enough on Biden.
We have some video from
when he was asked at the second part, did Biden do this? He gave a Biden-like nonsensical word soup instead of saying very simply, yes.
Well, here's a video from our southern border that shows.
But now you got to know what happened today. President Biden, there was a great picture of President Biden that I kept, President Bush, rather, President Trump, that I kept. And my God, I didn't realize it was going to actually happen today because everybody, says he's exaggerating when he says this. Well, show him what happened in Texas today to Abbott's state police because they don't get any help from the federal government because the federal government uses its agents to escort illegal aliens into the country, kind of like they were working for Radio City Music Hall, helping you find a seat. It has to embarrass the hell out of the Border Patrol that basically they are escorts to illegal aliens. But here's what law enforcement officers do, but here they're outnumbered. And I guess kind of worried they'll create a incident if they just shoot them. They were let in, by the way, by the Border Patrol.
It's insane.
Why the heck a big truck wasn't taken there saying United States Army? You grabbed every single one of them, put them on a truck, and drive them 30 miles into, I don't know, I drive them to Mexico City and put them on the president's doorstep and say, hey, these are your people. You keep them. They're not coming into the United States. Sorry. Yeah, that'd have been a good idea. It's not a long ride to Mexico City. We get maybe 15, 20 military vehicles, What the hell is Mexico going to do about it? You know, we're allowed to defend our borders. We have become under this depraved individual in the White House. We're looking like a country of sissies, sissy boy and girls. I mean, overwhelmed by those people illegally coming. We don't even know who they are. I mean, that could be a group of murderers. It could be a group like this lovely looking group. It could be a group like this lovely, like coming in to rape women. I guarantee you that they're not coming in to work at Chase Bank. Did you see a woman there? Look like military age men to you? Look like maybe they kind of add enormous resources next time we have a riot? Ever think of that? Those riots in 2020, we didn't have these 8 to 12 million illegal aliens in the country, of whom some undetermined number are vicious criminals. And when people say, oh, they're not, you know, they're all nice people coming here for work, how do they know that? They're not vetted. How does anyone know that these are nice people coming here for work? They sure don't look like it. I mean, they're not doing themselves much good for a job interview coming in like that. They look like they look like criminals rushing the police. When the police tell you stay there, honest, good people stay there. Criminals rush the police. So I have no idea how the Democrats do this. Oh, the poor immigrants. They're so, the poor immigrants. My God, those people look like criminals and are acting like criminals on their first encounter with the United States. And Trump gets in trouble for calling them animals. And he didn't say they were all animals. He said MS-13 was animals. That was shortly after they had chopped the heads off 3 girls. Sounds like that's a realistic man of common sense who can protect us, as opposed to the perverted criminal we have in the White House. We'll be back shortly.
The new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
We have two foundation delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us. Heroes who risk their lives to keep our communities and our country safe. Heroes like United States Marine Corps Captain and pilot John Jeremy Sachs. Captain Sachs sustained fatal injuries when his military aircraft crashed during training, killing him and 5 other service members. He's remembered by loved ones as courageous, brilliant, and devoted to his career, family, and friends. John is survived by his wife, Amber, who gave birth to their second daughter 3 months after his death.
And we're back.
It's Rudy Giuliani back with you. And thought we'd bring you up to date on the war that we're winning, not the stalemate, checkmate, whatever you want to call the Ukrainian war, where there not only is no progress, but no plan. I don't even understand that. I don't understand how we're giving them money with no plan. We're giving Ukraine money with no accountability, which does no good for the people of Ukraine, because there is absolutely no guarantee that money is being used for arms. You can't tell me that. No, my experience in Ukraine. I even suspect that they have already gotten enough money to win the war. But here they want another 60 billion and they have no plan, and no accounting. And there are all kinds of numbers running around about what we don't know. 20 billion missing in arms, 40 billion missing in arms. Not sure it got to the front, because the liars like to say, first they like to say, we give them arms. 40% of it is cash. Money, which they know how to steal, for which there's no accounting. And then we don't make sure the arms sold to other people. And we've caught some arms sales by Ukrainian crooks. That's what happens when you elect a president that has been compromised by the government of Ukraine, because Zelensky can look at him and say, Joe, shut up. I'll just put out the other pictures. Because he got all the pictures. I got a third. He's got them all. He can say, Giuliani's got nothing. I got the good pictures. Now we're looking at Israel. And we're almost at the conclusion in Israel. Basically, the Biden administration, Stinking Blinken, and his whole group of communists are trying to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Israel is ready to do the best they can to eliminate Hamas in Gaza. They got them backed up. I'm going to show you where, you see, there's Israel. You see it behind me, right? Do they see it, Ted?
Yep.
Okay. You see Jerusalem? Now I want you to go toward Ashdod, okay? And Ashkelon, okay? Those are both Israeli cities on the Mediterranean. And then I want you to go to Gaza, which is controlled by a terrorist group named Hamas, given to them by Israel in 2006, I think, somewhere around there. Since then, it's gone to hell. I mean, it used to be a pretty desirable place right on the ocean, making a lot of money, doing a lot of trade. But just like the rest of when you give the Palestinians something to do, they ruin it. They're ruining this. So back on the 6th, they attacked, came over the border, virtually right in the middle of Gaza, and attacked the kibbutzim that are extremely prevalent there. Near Oz, you see near Oz, see 241 down there? Then you look a little over and you see near Oz. That's one of the kibbutzim. And they were in that area, and that's where they killed the 1,200 people. The women, the children, raped them, beat them, beheaded them, raped dead bodies. All this is on film. And they put it on film and left a lot of it. It's not as if they're want to. What I'm telling you, they don't deny. They did it to scare the living daylights out of the Israeli people. So now Israel says, we've had it. You've come and killed our women and children. You have spent the last 30 years vowing to destroy us and training your people to destroy us and teaching them to destroy us from the time they're 2 years old. The only way we're going to be safe is by destroying you. So they invaded, and they took all of Gaza, and they are right now down to Go south now and look at Khan Yunis. That was one of the major headquarters of Hamas. It's now been captured by the Israelis, and they have all run to Rafah. And you see Rafah is right on the Egyptian border. But what you don't see is that there's a gate there. Let me see if I have something here I can use to show you the gate. The gate is about here, right there. Here's the gate. And over here is another thing being built like that. Okay, I'm going to tell you what those are. The gate is the gate that gets you into the Sinai Desert and Egypt. It actually would get you into Israel at one time. Israel had captured that and gave it back to Egypt. But the gate's closed. Why? The Egyptians don't want them. Egyptians don't want the Palestinians because the Egyptians are aware of something that American politicians aren't aware of. The American politicians who argue for Palestinian refugees coming to the U.S. I mean, you think these guys are a problem? Palestinians are trained, brainwashed as little babies to kill us. Us. We're called the big Satan. Killing a Jew is good, but if you can kill an American, they don't like us. They hate us. They despise us. And until you can prove to me that they've gotten rid of the UN books about killing us, and they've had a generation of people who act like civilized human beings, there is no purpose in letting them come into your country. Or so says the president of Egypt and the king of Jordan, because they're not allowed in Egypt and they're not allowed in Jordan. So why the hell should they be allowed in the United States? Their own people don't want them. So what that is, that gate's there, but they can't get in. And that little area is there that will let them into an enclosed part of Egypt. It'll accept about 400, I think. I don't know if it's 40,000 or 400,000, to tell you the truth. But it'll keep them there until it's over and they can push them back out. But not take them in Egypt. The rest of them, of course, unless they go to the areas designated by the Israelis, which have been designated now for weeks, where they'll be saved, the rest of them will be killed. And the rest of them include the leadership of Hamas. And they're going to be killed, not because the Israelis want to kill them. They're going to be killed because they have vowed for 40 years to kill the Israelis. And they've killed a lot of Israelis, and they just carried out a terrorist, vicious, barbaric attack, indicating that they're willing to do it, and they continue to say they're going to do it again. So now, if I'm the president of Israel, Bibi Netanyahu, and the demented person in the White House tells me I shouldn't do it, I tell him, look, pal, I'm the president of Israel, and you're the president of the United States, and you're doing a pretty horrible job of protecting your citizens. You're getting them killed all over the world. You're not exactly my model, pal. I think I'll protect my citizens. I don't want to go down in history as being the president of the United States who's lost more lives in non-wartime than any president. That's you, bud. Just think of Afghanistan. How many did you get killed in Afghanistan? That Gold Star father thinks it was a lot. Well, how about another observation? You think anybody had been killed in Ukraine if you had lost, and Trump were president? The guy you malign all the time, the guy you're trying to put in jail so you don't have to run against him. I mean, it really is pretty pathetic that you're trying to put him in jail rather than run against him. But you know, and I know, that everybody in Ukraine, Russian, Ukrainian, would all be alive today if that election had been conducted legitimately. You want to doubt it? Well, when I come back, I'm going to prove it to you for the 1,000th time. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back.
The new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your
Foundation delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us. Heroes who risked their lives to keep our communities and our country safe. Heroes. What a wonderful a young woman from everything that we can see, huh? From the very time that she emerged as the betrothed of the prince. She seemed like a very high quality, very lovely young lady. I remember going, I was actually this is really strange. I was actually in Scotland the day they got engaged. I was in St. Andrews, which is where their college was, because I was playing golf there.
Of course, we're talking about Catherine, the Princess of Wales, right?
Yes, the Princess of Wales. And they met at St. Andrews. They both went to St. Andrews College and met at St. Andrews College, which is a little bit of an unusual college for the future King of England to go. There usually would be Oxford or, but he went to St. Andrews before he went into the military, and which is a very, very fine college, but it's in Scotland rather than in England.
Okay.
And their affair began there, and not affair. They didn't have an affair. They had a courtship. Their courtship started there. See, I'm thinking about Fanny Ho and all those creeps. This is a nice lady. So it was kind of fun being there because they had lots of pictures of them and lots of stories about them. And from the beginning, they seem to have acquitted themselves just beautifully. It is a shame that she has cancer. I don't know how serious it is. If she's having chemotherapy, it certainly can't be taken lightly.
And of course, when we have
as a cancer survivor myself, my heart goes out to her. I remember my first reaction to being told I had cancer. That the biopsy came back with cancer, but you get used to it. And she seems like a very strong person. She got the most important thing you need to get through it, which is a lot of love around her and a real faith in God. That'll do it. She'll get through it. And she has all of our prayers and all of our support.
Should we play some of her message?
Please, I'd love to. It's quite an eloquent message.
Take this opportunity to say thank you personally for all the wonderful messages of support and for your understanding whilst I've been recovering from surgery. It has been an incredibly tough couple of months for our entire family, but I've had a fantastic medical team who have taken great care of me, for which I'm so grateful. In January, I underwent major abdominal surgery in London, and at the time, it was thought that my condition was non-cancerous. The surgery was successful. However, tests after the operation found cancer had been present. My medical team therefore advised that I should undergo a course of preventative chemotherapy, and I'm now in the early stages of that treatment. This, of course, came as a huge shock, and William and I have been doing everything we can to process and manage this privately for the sake of our young family. As you can imagine, this has taken time. It has taken me time to recover from major surgery in order to start my treatment. But most importantly, it has taken us time to explain everything to George, Charlotte, and Louis in a way that's appropriate for them and to reassure them that I'm going to be okay. As I've said to them, I am well and getting stronger every day by focusing on the things that will help me heal, in my mind, body, and spirits. Having William by my side is a great source of comfort and reassurance too, as is the love, support, and kindness that has been shown by so many of you. It means so much to us both. We hope that you'll understand that as a family, we now need some time, space, and privacy while I complete my treatment. My work has always brought me a deep sense of joy, and I look forward to being back when I'm able. But for now, I must focus on making a full recovery. At this time, I'm also thinking of all those whose lives have been affected by cancer. For everyone facing this disease, in whatever form, please do not lose faith or hope. You are not alone.
Well, I really am very impressed by that. And I think that's a very helpful statement to, there are so many people that are going through what she's going through. Some not as serious, some much more serious. It never can be trifled with when we're talking about cancer. And the main thing is to remain optimistic. It doesn't happen. You can't just go like that, optimistic. You got to work on it. You got to work on it. You got to work on realizing, first of all, that all of the statistics, no matter what kind of cancer it is, give you a much better chance of survival if you're optimistic. Doesn't mean you're going to survive. It doesn't mean optimism is going to cure cancer. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do the chemotherapy or the operation or the whatever. But you should go through it with a firm conviction that you are going to win. You're going to survive. And you're going to do what's necessary to survive. You know that takes you up a third? At least. It's hard to acquire because, look, it's very easy to get down over having cancer. It's a frightening disease. It's a deadly disease. But the success now in defeating it keeps getting better and better and better every year. And assuming it was caught at an early stage, the success gets you into the 90, if not 100%. So let's hope she's there. She sure seems to have the attitude to survive and the attitude we should emulate, and one that helped me a great deal. So going back to the news of the day, I don't know what's wrong with my political party, and I really love this congresswoman, so I hate to criticize her. But what the heck are we trying to vote for a new speaker for? I don't know. I didn't particularly like the budget deal. Didn't particularly like it. I thought it stunk. But I also realized we don't control the White House. That's what we're fighting for. We don't control the Senate. That's what we're fighting for. And we barely control the House. And if these idiots keep resigning, like McCarthy, who should have stayed there, and now he wants to be treated like a hero, and he double-crossed us by leaving. I mean, you can have your opinions on McCarthy one way or the other on the rhino and all the other stuff, and but leaving, I mean, just sit there for a little while longer so we got an extra vote so that Biden doesn't take our country away from us. They act like it's a game. I mean, I supported McCarthy because I felt like he's being treated unfairly until he did that. But in any event, it looks like the party's not buying it, and we'll just chalk it up to, I really do have a high regard for this member of Congress, and I do hope this was just we'll chalk it up to a mistake, okay? You can't stop watching the left for a second. They're trying to take the Kaylee Gain. They're trying to take the Kaylee Gain situation, and they're trying. They're trying to ignore it. It's like, like it didn't happen. Or that the guy was an Athens guy. What the heck is that all about? What is that all about? So maybe yeah, it's sort of like the one in the attack in Palm Beach, right near here, in which nobody reports it. I mean, it's a multiple rape in one of the wealthiest areas of America by illegal aliens. It's not worthy of news coverage when the president of the United States and his idiot secretary have really invited them in. Well, we show you pictures of them coming in, and the Border Patrol is their escort. Also, my Senator Schumer has reconsidered his statement that Bibi Netanyahu should quit or leave, or there should be a new election. I mean, he's reconsidered his intervention in domestic politics in Israel, which, of course, he was one of the loudest big mouths about Russian intervention when they thought Trump was involved in Russian collusion. Of course, they intervene all the time themselves. In this particular case, he's intervening in Israeli domestic politics, and he reconsidered it, and he decided he was right. I can never remember not thinking he was right. And I can never remember, recently at least, him being right about anything, except way back when he was a moderate. From the time I called him a jerk. Or did I call him an idiot? Well, he got insulted when I called him a jerk. I felt completely vindicated. And the other night, I felt terrible that he double-crossed his own people, the Jewish people. But I felt like I told you so. And I think the president of the United States, or former president, was absolutely right, saying, maybe I'll put it in slightly milder terms. Why the hell would you vote for the Democrats if you're Jewish? Explain it to me. Explain it to me. If they don't hate Israel, they allow others in their party to hate Israel and use that as the message of the party. And rarely, if ever, do they have the courage to stand up to them. So that this election is being dominated by two things. One, the rather small but significant in Michigan Islamic vote, for which Biden is going through hoops. And much more importantly, as a gentleman on Newsmax observed, it's being dominated by their love of Iran. I can only conclude, with all the money they give Iran, that they have a fascination with the murdering Ayatollah, the crooked mullahs, and the country that is number 2 to China in killing its own people, and the country that may be number 1 in killing Americans. How do you explain giving them hundreds of millions in cash, which is what Prince Obama did, or giving them billions in lifted sanctions so that they could become powerful enough to support 2 or 3 proxy armies and try to kill us? It looks like it's Iran first, Palestine second. Oh, sorry. China first, Iran second, Palestine third. America is not even worth listing America. That's their objection to America first, because from their point of view, America doesn't count for anything. Are you going to rise up against that? Or are you going to remain brainwashed and vote Democratic? Or are you going to sit back and watch them steal? You get any one of those choices. You don't pick the right one, and we don't have a democracy any longer. You know, I'm not sure we do now. Democracy, maybe. A nation of laws, like hell. We can't possibly be a nation of laws with Hunter Biden walking around free and Peter Navarro in jail. That's the nation of laws. What the hell did Peter Navarro do? A subpoena, executive privilege. The other guy committed maybe 100 felonies, all of which the proof is in about 50 different places, including one of my rooms in my house. Yes, I've got the hard drive. And yes, I produced it. And yes, they hate me for it, and they're trying to destroy me. And I'm very, very proud of the fact that I'm the first one to bring out Biden's criminality. Thank you. You want to crucify me? Attempt it. Number two, I brought out the hard drive and I pushed like hell to get the New York Post to publish it. And you pushed like hell to cover it up because I was right and you were criminals, including all of you that covered it up. Like the 51 intelligence people, some of whom I know. You really are scum. You don't care about your country at all, do you? Just your intelligence clearance. And you're pontificating. You know, if your pontificating was any good, the country would not be in the condition it's in now. I mean, you're the guys that got us into the Iraq war with no weapons of mass destruction. The same ones who said I was a Russian pawn. You had no proof of that. You even knew it wasn't true. You just wanted to suck up to Biden so that you could be secretary of something, or you could get a big board assignment and make millions, or you could go around like Brennan and boss around the world and corrupt other foreign intelligence agencies. When we say deep state, that's what we mean. That's who they are. They're extraordinarily dangerous. They pretty much figure they can defeat anybody. Con them, bribe them, threaten them, stick them in jail so that other people will be frightened. They know they can't do it to Trump. They know it. They know he feeds on it. Or they go after him, he gets stronger. Because he sees it as his mission as an American to get rid of them. And they're going to fight like hell to keep him out, dirty, illegal. He's going to fight like hell legally, and we're going to win because of you. So we got a weekend coming up now, Ted, right?
Oh yeah.
What's big this weekend that we should warn people about, or not warn, but alert them to?
Well, of course, with the weekend, on a lighter note, right? It's March Madness, and we talked about it. Just with today's news, it became so heavy, and it became so it almost seems inappropriate. But March Madness is happening, and there is a 7'4" center.
Yeah, I
300 pounds. What did I say when you first told me about it? Guaranteed, right? I was thinking that guy's going
I
to
gave you the article, and the article claimed he's going to have a hard time. Last year, they didn't think he'd make it he would be a first round pick. And he was the best college basketball player of the year.
Yep.
Zach Edey. This year, it looks like he's going to be the best college basketball, the Naismith Award. He's going to be the best college basketball player of this year. But they think he's going to go, kind of, I guess, in the first round, but kind of the back end of the first round. Would seem to me to be the first guy if I was starting a basketball team, I'd start with a guy who's 7'4". He's the closest to the basket.
That's right. We got let's play this short clip.
But I played basketball in the era of the big man who got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And they all had the great centers. The greatest one of all to me was Bill Russell, actually, not Wilt Chamberlain. We can argue about that.
Well, let's play. Let's see this guy. 7'4".
You always see those hockey players, they have like the big legs, big quads. I think that was something that's really translated for me. I'm hard to move because of those big legs I got from hockey.
Sometimes you get guys with that strong upper body, and then you have the bird legs, or vice versa.
And we're back.
He looks strong as hell, too.
Right?
It's not, I mean, this isn't 7'4" skinny mini Bellini. This is 7'4".
That's right.
So, I'll give you one example though. Will Chamberlain came into the league. He was the biggest man in the league. And oh God, for about 7, 8 years in a row, Bill Russell beat him. And Bill Russell listed himself as 6'9", but he was really 6'8".
And what were you telling me about the NBA moving?
Because Bill Russell could.
Wow.
Bill Russell also did something that the only other person after him that did it was Wes Unseld, I think. Nobody even tries it now. He used to throw what was called the outlet pass. I bet people don't know what the outlet pass is. The outlet pass is, even though he was 6'8" or 6'9", and there were bigger men under the basket, when the other team shot, right?
Yeah.
They'd leave very often Bill under the basket himself, or with only one other guy.
Wow.
And he'd invariably make the rebound against bigger men and more of them.
Yeah.
And he would then, like a quarterback, throw it half court to either Sharman or Kuzi.
Yeah.
And sometimes he'd throw it 3/4 court. It was called a fast break. Outlet pass, fast break, 9 championships.
Wow.
Go beat that.
Wow.
Individual statistics, Chamberlain, the rest of them, beat him.
Yeah.
But winning championships and changing the game of basketball, Bill Russell. Also, he was an announcer for a long time, smart as hell. And he was a coach for the Celtics who won championships. So I always list him. I know Jordan is everybody's favorite. And they'll even pick Chamberlain over Russell.
Yeah.
But they didn't watch Russell. I did. And there was nobody like Bill Russell.
Nope. That all time?
Bill Russell did to basketball what Lawrence Taylor did to defensive football. He changed it. It became a fast game with him. He was the little man who beat the big man. And the big man was Will Chamberlain, who in his day was like this guy. He was like 7'2", but he was an ox. He was the strongest man. They used to think like the strongest man in the world, if not certainly the strongest man in basketball. In fact, he thought about boxing for a while, but he really wasn't. The only thing Wilt lacked, he learned how to be agile enough, but he didn't have the agility, let's say, of Alcindor, who was his size, not as strong, but a lot more mobile. So, can we see another shot of this guy playing basketball so we can see how he moves? Because that has to be the.
They have that?
And can he put the ball some of these really big men can't put the ball on the ground. But well, first of all, it's a big bounce.
Right. Well, I'm going to play it here.
But you see the size of him. I mean, that when he bounces that ball, it's much easier to intercept it.
Yeah.
But look at this poor guy trying to. Look at that poor guy trying to stop him. He's like half his size.
Watch this.
The guy's going to break his.
Big quads. I think that was something that's really translated for me.
I think he fouled him too, by the way.
That must be him playing hockey on the left, growing up. That's him against Michigan.
I guess that's showing you how agile he is on the left there. These shots are.
Sometimes you get guys with that strong upper body, and then you have the bird legs.
7'4".
I'd like to see him shoot. I'd like to see him shoot. Like, shoot.
Yeah. I'll see if I can get that. We don't have, right there.
Does he have a jump shot?
A little bit there. Not there. There he just holds the ball.
Sometimes you get guys with that strong upper body, and then you have the bird legs, or vice versa.
So what does he do? What does he do?
Right here, he's shooting.
I think that's him. I think
There he
that's
is. Oh, that's him grabbing the ball. Yeah.
Well, he averages 24 points a game. I've forgotten the number of rebounds, and he's considered the best player in college basketball. But we can't tell. We'll get some stuff for Monday.
Yeah.
We can't, particularly if he's in the championship game, if he can take Purdue to the championship game. It's going to be interesting to see if he can shoot facing the basket, right? That's always a big sign. What are his stats on free throws?
That would be interesting, right? His free throw percentage.
That'd tell you something about how good a shot he is, right?
Yeah.
A guy who's got a good free throw percentage can shoot from the floor. You got anything there?
67%. Well, nope.
No.
71%.
Get out of
A
here.
career average of 70.8%.
That's pretty good for a guy his size.
Yeah. But as you know, they are trending up as far as shooting and the importance of pretty much all 5 people on the court being able to shoot the ball.
Wonder if he has any 3-point shots.
That's what we'll have to look for. Maybe come Monday.
It would almost seem ridiculous for him that it would almost be a waste for him to take a 3-point shot. I mean, he's so valuable under the basket. You'd want him to be under the basket. Well, the only time you wouldn't is if you wanted to take him out and create a lane for him, right?
Yes, sir.
Because if he came down the lane, you just move aside, right? Or you get killed, one or the other. So when is he playing? When is Purdue playing? I'm dying to see him play that.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I'll check the schedule in a second. So anything else, Mayor, before we go? Of course, March Madness, spring training.
I was at a spring training game last Sunday, the Yankees against the Red Sox. You notice I don't mention it.
And why is that, Mayor?
I don't mention it.
Well, I'm not going to say it, but as you know, the mayor is a big Yankees fan. He went to a Yankees Red Sox game. If he's not going to talk about it, you can imagine what happened.
I think I'm right. The first inning was 9-0.
But no comeback. Nothing even remotely.
Oh yeah, there was a
Oh, there
comeback.
was. Okay.
Like in the 8th or 9th inning, the Yankees put together 6 runs, but they waited to the 8th or 9th inning, and then the Red Sox got another 3 runs. So I think the end score was 12-6, which sounds like a rational game, but it wasn't. Most of the game, it was 9-0. Era after era after era.
Now, how many started? Like, who was playing?
Very few starters. I think Rizzo.
A lot of guys were.
Rizzo, the first baseman, was the only starter who had a good game. And the pitchers after that first inning, right? Think about it. They pitched shutouts.
Yeah.
Until about the 9th inning. So a lot of guys did good for themselves in terms of pitching, but not the 3 in the first inning who gave up 9 runs.
That's right.
And the Red Sox, that are supposed to be a weak team this year, look pretty good. I mean, they scored 9 runs in 1 inning. A pretty good team. Now there were errors, and in spring training games, they really very generous in not calling errors.
Really?
So you ended up with more earned runs than I think you would have in a regular game.
Okay.
I mean, there were some horrendous errors. Those were called.
Yeah.
Some that you and I had made the play.
Yeah. Well, maybe you. I'm not exactly.
And then but anything close, they didn't call it an error. If it was a difficult play,
yeah,
it wasn't an error.
Well, that's giving a break to the player. Then I mean, that's a big break to the player, not to get called for an error. And spring training.
The difficult plays are hard to judge because how often should a guy make, like at first base, for example, and the guy's got to dig it out of the dirt. I think it is now expected that a major league first baseman can dig it out of the dirt unless you take him off the bag.
Yeah.
I mean, you're supposed to be able to make that catch. I mean, even when I played baseball, you were supposed to make that catch.
Yeah.
Because when I was injured, I always played first base.
The slow guys on first.
And I used to train people. I used to train kids to play first base.
Wow.
I used to like training to catch and to play first base. But we'll be back on Sunday with Uncovering the Truth with Dr. Ryan. And we'll catch up on these subjects that are still hanging out there. What actually happened in Moscow? How many more alien Biden migrants kill people, rape people, beat people? What happened with the invasion? What's the aftermath of their having rushed the Texas police and knocked them down and come into the country? How much assistance did the federal government give them to break the law? There's a lot going on. And again, we wish the very best to Kate Middleton, the Princess of Wales. Really, really seems like a very fine person. Well, God bless America. is to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. It was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply our God-given common sense. So let's do it. Well, I forgot, and I was going to do it by myself here, but I should urge you to do it because it's so important. I want you to take your balance of nature, your veggies, your fruit. I had a big, long discussion today with somebody about this who's taking it and doing very, very well. I would give it a shot. It keeps you having the correct amount of fruits and vegetables, which to a very large extent are the reasons why you're taking many of those supplements in the first place, because you don't eat enough fruits and vegetables. If you ate the correct amount of fruits and vegetables, you probably wouldn't need the supplements. Not that they would hurt you. And what this does is it guarantees that you're getting the right amount. So today, I certainly did not have enough fruits and vegetables. I know that. So I don't feel like at this hour having a bunch of fruits and vegetables.
Let's go to balanceofnature.com. Use that promo code Rudy, R-U-D-Y.
And I'm telling you, I think certainly from the time I started using it until 3 or 4 weeks later, I really felt a tremendous burst of energy, which has remained. I mean, even when I get sick, I'm energetic. I'm an energetic sick person. I also remain sick shorter than anybody in the history of the world. Like I had very serious COVID, and I was fully recovered in 4 days. Now, I was treated by an unusual illegal doctor known as Dr. Trump, who prescribed what I would, he was the president then, who dictated what I would take, most of which was experimental. I think he was kind of using me, but he had done it himself. So he felt that it was okay. But he was using me like as instead of a dog, as a test animal, which is okay with me because I like dogs.
Balanceofnature.com. Use that promo code Rudy. So this was kind of a special.
Anybody, want to advertise dogs that they like, but I mean like rescue dogs and dogs that need homes. We'd be happy to help you. I watch those things all the time. I watch Victor Larkill. I don't know how his name is Larkill. He's Spanish. Great guy. What a wonderful human being. He does these presentations of dogs rescued. in Spain, where he claims it's a big problem. And then I have Rocky Kanaka. Rocky is in California, and he goes to a shelter and he sits with the most depressed dogs and brings them out of their depression so they can show their personality and get adopted. Because it's not just his contention. Ted and I have gone to the shelter in New York, and they'll tell you the same thing. And you could see it even when we were there. The dogs you're attracted to are the ones who come up to the bars, right? And they lick you or make funny eyes at you, and the ones you kind of ignore are the ones that are sitting in the back like this. And very often the ones in the back are wonderful dogs. They've just been mistreated or starved or afraid of people. They may even be afraid of other dogs who've attacked them. And so Rocky will concentrate on those dogs. And he has a whole technique. I really urge that you go watch this. He's not paying for it. I don't even know him. He's not paying for this or anything. I'm just telling you this. So you should really watch him because even if you watch a couple of them, it gives you a great understanding of dogs. He does it with cats too, but more with dogs. And then it's always been my contention, because I study animals. The more you can learn about animals, the more you can learn about humans. I mean, see that? That's how far apart we are. And it's all intellect. It's all here. Emotions, they have emotions. I mean, not all of them, but the higher level mammals have emotions. Memories, they have memories. What they can't do is verbalize, except for these trick dogs who, of course, they have those too. They have but I don't know if those aren't souped up, or those are hard to. And then also you got to watch out if you watch these. They got a lot of phony ones where they do phony rescues. And I mean, there was one I saw the other night, and they had about 8 or 10 that were exactly the same. And they went to the same place, and it was impossible that they could have recorded this, and somebody exposed them. But that doesn't happen with Victor, which is a very, very legitimate organization, or some of the others. I'll get you a list of all of them, so we're fair to them, because Victor and Rocky are my favorites, but there are others that are good. And I am a big advocate. If you're going to get a dog, get a rescue dog. Get a dog that needs help. And what you're going to find is a lot of people worry about rescue dogs, that they may have like trauma and that sort of thing. A dog's trauma is very different than yours. Their brain is not as big as yours. Their capacity for memory isn't the same, which means they can forget a lot of the bad things that happen to them better than we can, faster and better. And they are so desirous of being treated affectionately that will overcome a lot. I mean, you can take a dog that was terribly mistreated, and they'll be an extremely loving dog. So we'll do a special on that pretty soon. I got to call these guys and see if we can help them. But there you go. There's a little lecture on dogs to
great way to
end the weekend. And once again, God bless America.